Hello, and welcome once again to another tidbit of timely truth from Terry Engler. Thank you for joining me today. And I want to visit with you about a matter that's deeply concerning to me. All around our country today, we are hearing of protests on our university campuses over the conflict in the Middle East between Israel and the Hamas group. Now, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but this is something that's deeply disturbing to me, because I unashamedly support that tiny nation of Israel, whose people, the Jews, are God's chosen people. God told Abraham, the patriarch of the Jewish race, clear back in Genesis chapter 12, verse number 3, I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. We have to understand that what God promised to Abraham is true for you and I, his church today. God's blessing will be upon those who bless Israel, and those who curse them, well, not so much. He also instructs us through the psalmist in Psalm 122, verse number 6, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they be secure who love you. I don't know about anyone else, but I take those verses very seriously. I want God's blessings for me and my family. I want the security that only God can give. And so I bless that nation of Israel. I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And it's because of this that I'm, again, unashamedly pro-Israel. Not long ago, I watched videos on YouTube, at least before they were taken down, depicting the brutality and the lack of human decency inflicted upon the Jewish people by the Hamas terrorists on October 7th. It sickened me to my stomach, the reality of human beings doing such things to fellow human beings. And in spite of that reality on that horrible day of October 7th, there are protests now being waged across many of our university campuses here in America by students in support of those heinous acts of those despicable Hamas terrorists. And I have to wonder if some of those students even have a clue about the history of the Arab nations and their conflicts with the people of Israel. Have they even studied the history? Do they know that the goal of these terrorist groups is to eliminate every Jew on the face of the earth, as well as to obliterate Israel's very existence? You see, when it comes to the study of history, history cannot be canceled or revised. What has happened in the past cannot be erased simply because someone chooses not to believe it, or because some radical leftist professors want to indoctrinate our young people by teaching that horrors such as the Holocaust did not actually happen. History is designed to be an example and a warning to us. We have great examples from God's word that we should take heed of. You remember the story of the exodus of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery? That story was not just about the Jewish people. It was an example for all of humanity to learn from. Just as they escaped from slavery in Egypt, we have the blessed opportunity to escape the slavery of evil, of paganism, of rebellion against God. Therefore, we should be led by God's Spirit to understand history is there for a reason. We should read it, we should learn it, we should believe it, and we should follow its examples. Of course, when it comes to evil in our human race, we know the source of that evil to be Satan. And I truly believe that Satan is working hard to destroy the educational system in our country. He doesn't want our youth, that next generation of leadership in America, to learn from history. What they are being taught is often a great distortion of the truth. The Apostle Paul admonishes us in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 5 and verse number 11. And there he says concerning the disobedience and the rebellion of Israel, those who grumbled and complained and eventually lost the blessing of entering the land that God had promised to them. He said God was not well pleased with most of them, for they were scattered along the ground in the wilderness. And then in verse 11, he says, now these things happened to them, and I would add, and to us, as an example and warning. They were written for our instruction to admonish and equip us, upon whom the end of the ages have come. Friends, I believe we're very near the end of the age. Don't miss out on God's promises to his people, the church. As a result of not learning from the examples and warnings from history, they were written for our instruction.